was wondering, can you remember meeting the rest of the guys, or how did that go?
Well, I met Colin when I was about 2 because he's my brother, and I'm sorry, stupid answer. And the rest of them are all my brother's friends. And they're in his year at school, and I was 14 and they were 16, kind of thing. And it hasn't really changed from then, really.
You're the baby.
Yes, I was then, and yes, that's true. Well, you know what it's like when you have people at school and they're 2 years, 3 years older than you. It's like they're 20 years, 30 years older than you, you know. So I'm still catching up.
Can you, for instance, remember your first conversation with Tom?
No, I remember my brother telling the others that I played harmonica and there was a song they should let me come and play the harmonica with. So he kind of taught them into it, which is very good of him, really. You know, it's lucky to have brothers like that.
Yeah, and lucky to be able to work with him too, I guess.
Yeah. Right? Exactly, really lucky. Yeah.
Hey, listening to your new album, it strikes me like the stuff you do that I like best often has this sort of haunted quality in it. Is it
haunted? That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We're just starting to do interviews now, so people are coming up with ideas that make us think about the record. It can be good. Yeah, yesterday someone was telling me that they think there's lots of fairy tale imagery, dark fairy tale imagery, things about wolves and what else was he saying? Yeah, ghosts and things that just because you see them they're not there. All this kind of haunted, I suppose. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, we're still trying to make sense of it ourselves, I think.
Yeah, and I was listening to We Suck Young Blood.
Yeah.
And that sort of reminded me of some kind of religious procession in a way, or...
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, some of the songs like that one are sort of a joke. I mean, not a joke that's funny, especially, just, you know, quite a black joke, you know. I mean, you know, We Suck Young Blood, it's kind of cheesy on purpose, you know. But sound-wise, it's quite ominous and threatening as well. Yeah, it's a bit like a kind of, you know how when you see the very early horror films like Nosferatu and from the 20s and 30s, it's like it's frightening, but it's also a bit funny and a bit kind of just strange, you know, and quite brutal and just there's something weird going on in it. I think that's what that song is about. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like I don't know. I only got it last night, so I didn't have a lot of time to listen to it anyway. It's just that it's some of it also made me think like, are you guys religious, or does that come out in your music?
Religious, that's interesting. I don't know. I suppose we had a religious education. Yeah, you know, we went to a school where you had to go to church every morning,
really?
Which is quite weird. Yeah, looking back, very weird.
Every morning?
Was it every morning? Yeah, there was chapel every morning, yeah. Weirder.
What is that? Like, is that Church of England, or what is it?
Yeah, Church of England, which is nearly no church at all. Kind of, the big thing about Church of England is that, you know, it's that there isn't a church. I don't know, it's very weird. You know anything about it? It's very English in a way, very wishy-washy. Very, you can believe what you want and it's fine. Or believe nothing, that's fine too. You know, it's not long for this world, I fear. Partly because it's just so nice and gentle and a bit, you know, it's like one of those animals that you know, like the dodo or something, that's just a bit overly friendly and not very, and just probably not going to survive very long. Bless it, poor little thing. I think, who knows? No, maybe it'll all be saved and you know, Big JC will come back and we'll be fine. You know, who knows?
Who knows, yeah. No, but are you interested in that? Because you were just saying that you were going to this museum that has a church too. Or just as imagery or feeling behind it? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of... I'm all confused. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of the music I love is very religious, so, you know.
Like what?
Oh, it's kind of classical things, I suppose. Things like Messiaen, who was fervently Catholic. But then, you know, Elgar was Catholic as well, and he's like the most English composer you can think of, which is quite strange. And lots of my favourite writers, like Evelyn Waugh, was Catholic. So, and this church we're going to is Catholic. So I'm curious from that standpoint because I know nothing about it, and yet lots of the people I admire kind of had a very strong Catholic faith. Anyway, I don't know what that's about. Yes, so interested, but not necessarily part of a church.
Yesterday I was checking the internet. I typed in Radiohead at Google, and it said something like 732,000 sites. I was like, whoa, that's scary, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I mean, I think of it in terms of paper. If there are 700,000 pieces of paper with the word Radiohead on that have been written in the last 10 years, it's not quite as frightening because they've all, rotted away and they've disappeared and they're not around anymore. It's only frightening because the internet doesn't die and is still full of rubbish and old information.
No, but in general, I mean, it's sort of like also there's this really extensive site called Follow Me Around, and it almost freaks me out, a title like that. I mean, does it freak you out that people follow you with so much scrutiny and everything you do?
Yeah, there are lots of people who are very interested in Radiohead, but they're not really interested in us or me or, so it's, again, that's a lucky position to be in, It's like we don't put our faces around much, not in the videos, not on the records, and we're not very interested. We did an American interview, and the journalist had gone to see some fans, Radiohead fans, to ask them questions, ask them what they'd like to know, because this is how he always does his interviews. And he said nobody wanted to know about us; they wanted to know about how we work and about how the music's done. And every other band he's interviewed, they want to know how they live and what their day is like and and nobody cares about us, which is it's the best position you can be in, I think, when you're in a band.
How do you explain that?
I don't know. I suppose we haven't married supermodels, and we haven't, we don't go to parties in London and try and get our faces in Hello, and we're happier just working and playing concerts and keeping our heads down, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess you're one of the most unlikely mega acts or mega rock bands there is.
We're kind of anonymous, but Radiohead is quite famous. It's like working for a company that's famous. It's like working for Rolls-Royce or something, or you just people have heard of it and some people like it, but the engineers behind it are sort of irrelevant. And that's how we want it to be, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of like what you project also in a way, or to the outside. It's sort of, I don't know. Yeah, it's not like there's a lot of big scandal involving your lifestyles like Oasis had and stuff like that. So. Yeah,
it's like, we're kind of, I think our drug of choice is probably aspirin. So, we'll be fine.
I was wondering, when you set out to make new music, do you consciously try to innovate, or how do you consciously try to find new paths to express yourself in music?
Yeah, it's a balance. I mean, you're bored with what you've done before, I suppose, and bored with the music you're hearing. But then on the other hand, there's lots of music that sounds completely original, and it's like nothing you've heard, and it's got new sounds and new beats, but maybe it's bad music as well. So you have that conflict, between looking for new sounds but not just making bad music with new sounds, which is possible. I think people forget. I forget sometimes. I'm like everybody. I'll go to a record shop and you hear, it's always men as well, listening to a few seconds of lots of different records on a turntable, like dance music, and they're going through them and through them, and they're just looking for the sounds and looking for the beats and making sure it sounds like new, and that's the reason for buying it sometimes. And when you've done that a few times, you start thinking, well, you take it home and you don't like it, even though it is new. It's not. Sometimes it's good. There's Aphex Twin, and there's lots of artists doing great music that is new and different, and then there's new and different, and it's not good.
But it's just new and different for new and different sake.
Yeah, I think so. You've got to. It's a difficult judgment because it's easy to be wrong, but I'm just saying that it's not enough to innovate in terms of sound. it's got to be a piece of music still. It's got to be 4 minutes long and do something to you, I suppose. Not be the right 3 seconds in the shop and it'll be fine. You know, it's something else, I think.
And what is it? It's something else, you think?
I don't know. That's my, because the other extreme is bands that just use guitars and you know and hate electricity, hate the future and hate computers and it's, I don't think that's right either, because you know they're just guitars in the same way as a computer is just a computer. It's not, you know, neither of them are the holy way of making music. You know, back to religion again, but. I don't know, I suppose we're still confused and still working it out, but we're making music at the same time, in the middle of all that confusion. So that's what we do. Yeah,
well, I guess the confusion, that's what keeps it exciting.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, you're right. It's good to be confused.